Today I wanted to go ahead and compare the S22 Ultra to the Note 10 Plus in 2024 here because I got a lot of feedback from the Note 10 versus the S23 Ultra video, and yeah, so I got a lot of feedback. This is a lot cheaper if you do want to make an upgrade from your Note 10 Plus. This kind of makes a little bit more sense, I guess, if you're on a budget, right? And you can find a good version, 344, 360, excellent condition for an S22 Ultra. So definitely a lot of things here that I think Note 10 Plus users will like. Obviously there is going to be, you know, some downgrades, of course, and we'll start off with the hardware. This is where the biggest downgrade is going to be, is actually the SD card support. It is no longer here on the S22 Ultra, so that's something that you do need to note. And you know, if you're somebody that really needs that expandable storage, honestly, I would say just hold on to the Note 10 Plus till it just stops working, to apps stop working, right? But if you're not really big on that, then, you know, there's a lot to like here. Now, the design you can see is updated here. The S22 Ultra looks more like the newer Galaxies, like the S23 and S24 series. And yeah, you can see just much bigger cameras. You have a matte finish on here versus the, you know, back on the Note 10 Plus. It can kind of pick up fingerprints depending on what angle you look at it, but it's a very nice looking device still. I think it's one of Samsung's best designs of all time. This very cool Aura Glow color, which is just really nice looking, very unique looking. And yeah, so your S Pen is still on here as well too. They're actually in different spots, as you can see. And the S Pens, they kind of feel, you know, similar. In my opinion. I think if you don't do digital artwork, you won't really notice the better latency on the S22. They kind of feel similar, right? Both IP68 dust and water resistant as well too. And yeah, they pretty much feel the same. I would still say the S22 Ultra is slightly a little bit more poking the palm than the Note 10 Plus. Kind of spill over to gaming performance as well too. Is the 120 Hz. So you're going from a 60 to 120 Hz on the S22 Ultra, and it does matter, especially if you're into games, right? So we have the dynamic AMOLED 6.8 inch 120 Hz HDR10 Plus. We do have a much higher max brightness at 1750 nits, 1440p, 540 ppi. The Note 10 Plus still has a very good display. Just looking at them side by side here, it still looks really good. It's a 6.8 inch dynamic AMOLED display, HDR10 Plus. It's also 1440p, 498 for the ppi. They're both curved panels as well too. And I would say the 120 Hz is definitely something that you're going to notice. And just like I always say, once you go to 120 Hz, you're going to probably never want to go back to any type of 60 Hz panel. Because it just looks a lot more smooth when you're scrolling through social media or the web or whatever. It's just going to look a lot more smoother when you're scrolling through the interface here. And animations overall just look a lot more fluid as well too. So that's a cool thing about the 120 Hz. Also the higher max brightness. So if it's sunny outside, the S22 will be a lot easier to see. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the overall software and the specs here. So you can see we have a higher Geekbench score on the S22 Ultra, and the reason why I never really harp on these Geekbench scores is because your day-to-day tasks really aren't that going to feel that much different. So the specs go Snapdragon 855, 256 gigs of internal storage, 12 gigs of RAM on the base model, SD card support, which is awesome. And then on this particular model here, this is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and this is the 128 gigs and 8 gigabyte RAM model here. And yeah, no SD card support. We're running Android 14. The last MajorOS update was Android 12 here. And as you guys can see, if you get into a little app test here, it's gonna feel similar besides the 120 Hz. You won't really notice too much of a difference, honestly. See, let's try to open YouTube. And the Note 10 actually opens first. Again, the only thing you'll kind of notice is the animations. Again, the Note 10 Plus is just super fast. You guys can see it's blazing fast here. I think we should actually notice the difference with games. So as you guys can see, just a little bit faster. But as you guys are seeing, this is why I don't really, you know, go crazy on benchmarks, because this phone is still perfectly fast. It's a very fast phone. So it's not like we're Like there's virtually no speed difference here. Now this does become more apparent, the overall performance with gaming. And it's not that the Note 10 Plus is bad at gaming now. It's just that the fact that, you know, it's just not gonna have the better settings here. But we'll open PUBG here. See which one gets in here first. S22. Okay, S22. It looks like the Note 10 Plus is, yeah, in there. So again, a little bit of a difference there. All right, so if you do consider yourself a mobile gamer here, you will appreciate the higher frame rates here for games like PUBG here. We have 90 frames on here, so it's just going to be a little bit smoother because we have the, you know, 120 hertz display. And, you know, games that support the high refresh rate, you know, you can appreciate that, right? So overall gaming performance is going to look a little bit better on the S22 for sure. The Note 10 Plus still doing a good job at 60 frames HDR. Still very, very smooth, very, very playable. Still can play Call of Duty or whatever. But yes, overall your gaming experience is going to be a little bit, you know, faster, especially if you're into the, you know, the shooting games. A big update that you actually might like is the Galaxy AI features are here on the S22 model, which really makes it feel a lot more modern. Now it makes it feel kind of like an S24, S23 now, and you have a good amount of the features on here now. So you got actually a pretty good amount here. So that's something that's new that'll make the phone feel a lot, you know, fresher. So I was really happy when they brought that down. Obviously we don't have that on the Note 10 Plus, so that's also something that you could take into consideration. The fingerprint scanners are exactly the same. They're both ultrasonic. The face unlock works exactly the same too. Let's go ahead and check out these speakers. Right, so we got the S22 Ultra here. We're at max volume. So I wouldn't really consider this a pretty big upgrade. The speakers aren't that great on the S22 Ultra. It's not that much better than the Note 10 Plus, honestly. I mean, it kind of hits a little bit harder, but it's barely louder. So I would say not really a big upgrade in the speaker department. Let's talk about the camera. So we have a 12 megapixel standard, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then we have a 12 megapixel telephoto, 2x optical. This goes all the way up to 10 times for the digital zoom. And then we also have 4K 60 video on the front and back with a 10 megapixel selfie. The S22 has a bit more beefier camera setup. It's a 108 megapixel standard, 10 megapixel telephoto, 3x optical zoom. Then we also have a periscope lens on here, 10 megapixels with a 10x optical zoom going all the way up to 100 times digital zoom. And then we also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot an 8K 24 with a 40 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. So check out these side by side stills and video. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so here's an area where, and this is why I kind of was like recommending the S23 if this was your main concern. The battery life is really not that much better on the S22 Ultra here. So it does have a bigger 5,000 milliamp hour battery, 45 watt charging with wireless and reverse wireless charging, but it's really not all that much better than the Note 10 Plus. Even though the Note 10 Plus has a smaller 4,300 milliamp hour battery, this also has 45 watt charging and wireless and reverse wireless charging. Your screen on time is just going to be, kind of average here. My screen on time is typically with these phones is like maybe 5 hours, 30 minutes. Getting like a full day is, you would have to be like a really light user. I could get a full day because I'm a very light user, but any type of like gaming or just taking a lot of videos and stuff like that, just doing kind of power, user type of stuff, GPS and all that, these phones you're definitely gonna have to charge them. So that's why I said the S23 series in general just has a lot better screen on time, but the battery life is not terrible. It's just kind of in that middle of being just kind of okay. But let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one.